Welcome to Mo's Market Pulse. I'm your host, Sara Mokaram, founder of Mo Digital Solutions, where we help businesses hit their revenue goals and thrive. On this podcast, we talk with industry leaders about their business, market trends, growth strategies, and what's ahead. Today, we have Jon Ratt, CEO and co-founder of Archy. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Of course.
Archy is making waves in the dental tech space, and I'm excited to unpack not just what you're building, but why behind it. So, to kick things off, I just love to help listeners understand the foundation of your story and kind of that aha moment that led to Archie. So, can you take us back to kind of the very beginning and what was that spark or frustration that made you realize that the dental industry needed a platform like this?
So first, thank you for having me. It's my pleasure to be here with you today. What started Archie actually is a very common story for many entrepreneurs. It didn't necessarily impact me per se, but it impacted the person the closest to me, my wife. She's a dentist, and she owned a dental practice here in the Bay Area. And when she started her practice, to be honest, I was not necessarily that involved, other than emotional support and helping here and there. But then what I discovered is that dentistry was antiquated, or is still antiquated today. 85% of dentists still use a server in a closet instead of like using a cloud platform like Archie. And so the inception actually really started when my wife was using a software on a server, paying an IT company to manage the server, do the backup. And we realized that they actually were not doing what they were paid to do. We had no backup. It was a lot of back and forth with the IT company to really uncover that they were trying to cover up their lack of work. Um, and so I had to rebuild the server myself, manage the backup and so on. And I told my wife, like, I love you, but I'm not going to do that for the next 20 years. I don't want to manage a server and a backup. So that's the first inception of Archie. Why do we need a server? Why not use a cloud platform? There are two other components that happen after, is that dental practice use between 5 to 10 different software to run their business. And it's a pain. It's a pain because it's software that don't talk with each other very well. And so I was like, it's not just about going cloud, it's actually about going cloud and all in one to bring everything under one roof. The final part was I did work in a practice time to time on Saturday, and I was doing some of those tasks that are very manual, repetitive, prone to error. And I was like, we need to automate some of this. Why? Like if it's repetitive, I'm a lazy person, probably like most tech people, and I'm an engineer originally turned product, but I'm lazy. I don't like to repeat myself. And so I was like, it's not just going cloud and all in one, it's also bringing some automation and efficiency to save time for the practice. So all of those three components are what led me to start Archie, but everything started actually after COVID. During COVID, almost, or if not all, dental practices in the US had to close for about 3 months. It was a requirement. Many people left the dental industry. We actually lost our office manager who moved away from California. And that's when I realized this is the right time to build a platform to really help dental practices and their staff be more efficient.
That's great, and very unique perspective, really, having those experiences in your wife's dental office. And it sounds like you've been working there for a little bit on the weekends to help out.
That's right. That's right.
So I saw that you worked at some other big names in tech, like Uber and Meta and SurveyMonkey. How did those experiences in those kind of high scale product management really influence how you approach building Archie from scratch?
I mean, first, those companies, even though they are large companies, are very different. But there is one key learning that I got from those two, whether actually all three, SurveyMonkey, Uber, and Meta, being data driven. I keep saying most people underestimate how much data is being analyzed when a decision is made on the product. There is no guesswork. Yes, sometimes we make assumption, but I keep saying, and it's not a feature I beat myself, the reactions on a Facebook post where you have like the love, the care, the like, dislike, and so on. People think someday someone decided those are the icon we're gonna use and the order. What they underestimate is the amount of tests to see like which icon to use, which order to put those icon on. And that's the same thing for literally every feature that is being built. People say like, oh, Facebook spy on me. No, Facebook doesn't spy. Facebook track data to make better decisions. And so that actually what we apply at Archie is that we really look at data metrics to make decision on what we want to do. We, for example, count number of clicks it takes to achieve a task. if we decrease by 1 click, 2 clicks, that might seem irrelevant, but yet it is time. So that's actually one of the biggest learning, being data driven. And the last part I learned is when you make a decision, you can ask your users what they want. And I always have a quote that I keep saying, the Henry Ford, if I'd asked people what they wanted, they would have said faster horses. That's another learning. It's okay to do research as customers, but people don't know what they don't know. And so using data to make decision on what we want to implement was probably like one thing that I will keep forever.
Yeah, that makes sense too. Just with even some people, it's hard for them to articulate, right, what they want, but that
Mhm.
data can really show and communicate in a different way.
That's right.
So, the dental tech market, I want to shift to that a little bit and ask you, what major shifts or trends are you seeing in dental practice management right now? Anything that surprised you or accelerated faster than expected?
I mean, the trend that we see right now, which is almost laughable sometimes, is like AI, of course. I think we have to go there. But it's almost like every week now there is a new AI company, mostly doing voice, answering the phone. And I can probably name like 50 companies right now doing all the same thing. And what's funny is that to me, pretty much all of those will disappear within a year because there is no moat. They are doing literally, they are leveraging the same LLM behind them. And so it's nowadays easier to create a quick like add-on functionality. And I call those like add-on company because they focus on one tiny feature that company like us will build internally and they are irrelevant now. And so that's one of the trends that I see, at least in dental, a lot of like add-on voice AI functionality. Now, the real trend is where AI can really help dental practices. And there, for example, there's a company we partner with called Pearl AI, which is like AI analysis on X-ray. And that is actually exciting because it's helping um, providing better care and explaining to patients why they need treatment. The way I describe it is AI on X-ray is not for the dentist. They cannot read X-ray. But Sarah, if I were to ask you last time you went to the dentist, if your doctor show you your X-ray and say you have a cavity here, you probably can read it. I can't either, and I'm married to a dentist. And she has shown me many X-rays sometimes to show me like here and trying to teach me, but I cannot see a cavity. But now with the AI, I am on the same playing field. And when my dentist, who happened to be my wife, tell me like, you have a cavity here, which I don't. Let's be clear, I have good dental hygiene. Just kidding. But it's actually helping dentists showcase to the patient what they see. And so it helps now. It's not, we know in healthcare, there is always like, is my doctor trying to rip me off? I mean, I think that's a trend I've been seeing, like, oh, my doctor is trying to make money and so on. Well, now it really helps to show like it's not just me, the doctor, telling you you have a cavity. You can see it for yourself. And that's exciting because it removes some of the friction of like, do I really need to do that treatment? And there is other aspect where AI will help with more automation because there is another problem right now overall in the US, but also in healthcare and in dental, which is a staffing shortage. Almost every dentist I meet today tell me they're having issues hiring. There is nobody to be at the front desk. There is a lack of assistant. And so if we can automate through AI a lot of those tasks, well, we make it easier for a practice to operate. And so that's actually what I see and what I'm excited about.
Yeah, that AI, it's almost that third party perspective or opinion, right, for the
Mhm.
patients as well. So, when you look at other solutions out there, what do you think competitors are getting wrong, and where do you feel Archie has a real edge?
I mean, our edge is that we are developing this. A lot of our competitors don't have the skills to do this in-house. So they keep on like leveraging some of the third party, and they move slow. I mean, we are actually the youngest dental platform by age in terms of when we were founded. The closest competitor is 10 years old. And we are catching up. We're already surpassing many of them. So that's our edge. We move fast. We also do things very differently. If you look at Archie compared to a lot of the software out there, there are times where we take a 360 approach or 180. And I always say like whenever a user, no matter what role they have in the practice, is trying to achieve a task, they want to go from point A to point B. There are many roads that can take you to from point A to point B, and we don't look. Of course, we look at what others are doing, but it doesn't mean we're going to do the same. And so that's literally one of our strengths. Another one, which is funny, because when When I started Archie and we were raising capital, people were like, you cannot bet on your UI and UX because that's something that can be copied. And the reality is one of our strengths that we get from literally, if not all of our customers, is that it's easy to use. I mean, Sarah, I could literally hire you in my practice. I guarantee you within 30 minutes, you can create a patient, book an appointment, verify their insurance, charge the patient with barely no training. If you're a little tech savvy and you're not afraid of clicking everywhere, you will literally figure it out. We have some of our competitors right now. The joke is that they look like Windows XP. One of them look like Windows 3.1, which I grew up with back in the day on my first computer. UI UX is key nowadays for efficiency, for like training and so on.
Yeah, I feel like the ease of platforms are so critical too with people's attention spans,
Mhm.
right? So people want things instantly these days with everything that's so easy to access. I feel like even any platform, people do not want to be having struggles with it or it really kind of is gone out of their mind.
That's right. I mean, we see for some of our competitors, the practice has to pay for like 1 to 2 days of on-site training because it's so complex. And then the problem is when the staff leave, they have to rehire and retrain and repay, um, and it's cumbersome. And that's one area where I use actually some of my experience when I was in the practice, because I didn't know dentistry. I was just married to a dentist. And I had post-its in front of me, like new patient exam, a recall for when you come for your next cleaning appointment, and so on. And that actually translated into a feature in Archie. I was like, nobody should have post-its in front of them. And so that's actually how we approach. You should be able to, I keep saying in a dental practice, you want to hire for attitude, not aptitude. Because if we make the product as easy to use as possible, what matters is the attitude. Somebody who can smile, greet patient in a way that make the patient feel comfortable. They should not have to learn or know dentistry right off the bat. Of course, you want them to learn after.
And has customer feedback shaped your view at all? And if so, can you share a moment where clients' input really changed your thinking? And maybe that's even your wife as a customer of your platform.
I mean, I keep saying the first 6 months of building Archie, my wife was our first customer, obviously. I mean, every night she came home and she would have feedback. And there were times where we had disagreements, big disagreements, because she was like, I used to do this. Why can't I do it on Archie? And there are times where she convinced me to change my mind. And there are times where I was like, no, trust me on the process. We are going to a place where you won't need what you want. Um, so that was in the early days. But now our customers shape Archie every day. We get feature requests. And I actually shared with our customer recently, I was like, just know that we listen to every feedback. It doesn't mean we are going to implement all of them because sometimes we have a different goal or approach. Our vision again is to automate as much as possible. And so if you tell me you used to do a bunch of stuff and you want to be able to replicate, our intent might be to bypass all of this. The example I like to make, if I can make an analogy, is the banking system. If you look at the banking system across the world, in the US, we use SEH when you need to wire money between folks, right, or companies. If you look at Asia, they barely use SEH. It's all digital. They actually bypass the entire SEH clearinghouse system, and they are ahead now compared to the US. That's the approach we have. We want to bypass the SEH of dentistry and go into the digital space. And so, but to go back to your question, our customers really influence. And the hardest part for us is to find the balance between sometimes like smaller feature requests that can improve their day-to-day and larger project for us that can really impact their day-to-day. And so we have to find the right balance to do a trade-off because we also want them to know that we listen to their feedback.
So now shifting gears a little bit to growth. What growth channels or strategies have been most successful for Archie so far? And any surprises in what's really driven traction for you?
So I keep saying Archie growth and marketing has been very unconventional. We have done marketing campaign that nobody else has done in dentistry. And I will give an example, and I will give credit to one person who left Archie recently, but he was some of the mastermind behind some of our campaign. We, for example, delivered pizza to dental practices. Actually, I might have the box. I keep it next to me, but like we literally had a pizza box, custom pizza box. And so when we did this campaign, we were like, we are going to deliver pizza and that will drive brand awareness. Originally, we had asked a few other companies, would you want to participate with us, like dental companies? Everybody said no. They were like, it's not going to work. Why would you deliver pizza? It's going to be expensive. We did it. It became a huge success. Those companies who said no, the next day were like, can we participate with you next year? And the funny part is that some of those companies were bigger than Archie. And I'm glad and grateful they passed on doing this with us, because if they had done it with us, they probably have had more of the spotlight. But because we did it on our own, we literally got 100% of the spotlight. Nobody has bought pizza and delivered pizza to dentists and their team. So they were excited, they posted on social media. And that drove actually brand awareness and actually practices that switch from Archie because they received those pizza. That was one campaign we did. We did another campaign, but we learned quite a lot. Pizza have their own challenge. You can only deliver them during lunchtime. You cannot deliver a pizza at 9 a.m. or at 5 p.m. So now we have another campaign and also have a box, which is donuts. And so again, we made our own box and we deliver donuts to practices. And the advantage is that donuts, you can deliver them at 9 a.m. or at 5 p.m. and nobody will say no to a donut. And so I'm just sharing this as one example of how we have been doing our marketing. It's unconventional. And the fun part, and the last one we did, actually, we bought billboard for dental practices for our customers. Or we're like, if you sign with Archie, you will get a billboard. And it's not a billboard to advertise Archie. We are advertising the practice. And that also has been a huge success. And the good news, which I love, is that now other companies are copying that and they're offering more billboard to dentists. And I'm like, that's great. Everybody wins at the end. I am happy to see dentists getting a billboard paid by companies. Because it's our success, their success. A successful practice will make Archie successful as well. So those are the tactics that we have been doing, which is very unconventional. And funny enough, many people told us originally, don't do this. It's not going to work. It's going to be expensive. And we didn't listen. And it worked for us.
I love that. And I love the boxes. Those look great.
Thank you. Credit to our team and our design team. But yeah, we try to be like, make something cute that people are excited to open. And so proud of our team for that.
Yeah, fill their bellies and they'll be happy.
Exactly.
So marketing though in dental practices, I'm assuming, why you're using some of these unique approaches can't always be easy since it's a very specific niche. So have you had any challenges in kind of building awareness and trust in the market outside of, I don't know if it's a certain geographic area that you're working on where you're doing these deliveries?
So some of the challenge, and this one is, I probably get dinged for saying that publicly, but like there's some mafia in dentistry. There are people who are trying to be influential. There are people who want to get paid. I have had one person who is like not necessarily talking about Archie because he's like, I want stock in the company. And he's not gonna get stuck in the company. This is not like extortion. And so there are actually some, I would say, like mafia, and people will be like, oh, I'm gonna promote this company or this company and so on. But for us, we want to do it the right way, and the right way is to do good by the dentist, do good by the dentist and their team. And so that's something we have to navigate. People who will sometimes criticize us, even if they don't know us. The other day, I called out a dentist who was like, go with this software, not with Archie. And I was like, you have never looked at Archie. You are refusing to meet with me so I can give you a tour, and yet you are criticizing. And he said fair. And it's something we have to navigate through, and it's okay. Those people will come around. I keep saying, like, at some point, they might have some incentive right now. They get paid, they get incentive to promote others. But then the motto that we have is that if we do good by our community, by the dental community, people will respect that. For example, one of our competitors raised money from Delta Dental, a dental insurance. Well, we know that dental insurance don't have the best incentive towards dentists or even patients, to be honest. And I'm not gonna, with the past, what happened last year with the CEO of United Healthcare, it's sad, and I don't want that to repeat. But right now, I own a practice and I see dental insurance are decreasing how much they reimburse. And the problem actually is that patients feel like that comes from the dentist. It's becoming more expensive. No, it's just dental insurance that are squeezing and squeezing. And yet dentists actually have to, like, the price of their staff, the price of their supplies is going up. And so that's where there is like misalignment. And sometimes I do feel bad for a lot of dentists that are being criticized by the patient when the patient don't realize the pressure dentists have actually to operate. And that pressure often comes from dental insurance.
And as you look ahead here over the next 12 months, are there any new growth strategies or kind of bold bets that you're excited to test?
I mean, there are some I won't necessarily disclose because I know like a lot of our competitors have their eye on us. I mean, we have one that we are doing right now, which is funny because same thing. When we started doing it, I had people who were like, John, don't do this because it's going to be controversial. And we actually have a campaign right now where one practice will win a Tesla Model Y. Now we know that Tesla is, and Elon Musk is a very polarizing today, right? It's either you love him or you hate him. I don't think there is in between. Um, and the way I describe it is I want to remove that aspect. I'm not even going to share what I think. I'm a big fan of Tesla, the car. Let's put it that way. I think it's an amazing car. I have one. It self-drive me from San Jose to SF when I want to, and something I don't like to drive. I like my car driving me, and it's safer and so on. And so we keep saying like, put your practice on autopilot in the same way Tesla put your car on autopilot. That's the connection we want to make. And those who tell me they don't believe in the Tesla autopilot, I'm like, you should try it. Because many people who actually say like it doesn't work, I'm like, you have not tried the latest FSD on your Tesla. Because if you did, you would believe it works. And again, does it drive 100%? No, there are times where you might have to take control. Same with the practice. We're not going to put 100% of the practice on autopilot. But that's a campaign we're doing right now, which is actually doing really, really well. But it's funny because people are like, don't do it. You don't want to associate Archy with like a Tesla. People will ding you. And I'm like, are there some people that will like think negatively of Archy because of that? Probably. They probably are not the dentists that I want on Archy because they don't want their practice on autopilot. And so that's one of the campaigns that we do today.
Yeah, I love that. And that comparison totally makes sense. And it does remove whoever thinks about their thoughts on
Exactly. I mean,
Tesla as a whole.
it's like if people cannot distinguish, like, I mean, not to go political, but like I am bummed to see people like keying cars today. It's like the people who own the car, they
Or
own
not.
a car for the purpose of having a car that can drive and so on. Doesn't mean they agree with the decision of leadership. And I always say we could make many other analogy where if you look at the leadership of the company, would you agree with them? No, but you still buy their product. You're not gonna rip off somebody's clothes because they bought from a brand that you don't agree with the leadership. And so again, for me, the vision is we want to help the practice be on autopilot in the same way Tesla does it with car. And it's to me like innovation. Tesla has disrupted how cars are being built, designed. They are the first one that came with that big screen, with like the phone where you can control your car from your phone. We basically associate a lot of this with what we are doing. And I joke, I always say, but I'm not Elon Musk. I don't pretend to be him. I will never be like him. I am Jon Ratt, the CEO of Archy, and I'm doing innovation in dentistry.
So now I want to dig into some of the challenges because, of course, with any startup or company and growth, there are definitely challenges there. So, what's been the single toughest operational challenge you've faced since launching Archy, and how did you navigate it?
I mean, there are a few challenges. The first one, which is for pretty much every product, prioritization. There is so much we want to do. I mean, I keep telling people like the Archie today versus the Archie in 3 months, in 6 months, in a year will be different. And we know our vision. We need to stay laser focused on that vision, which means being cutthroat on how we prioritize what we want to implement. There are features that we would love to have. But when we look at the prioritization or like they are like a tiny percentage to get us to where we want to be compared to others. So the first challenge really, and I think it touched literally every startup and every company, even large one. I mean, even when I was at Meta or at Uber, prioritization was always the hardest. So that's number one. Number two, which was more in the early days, we don't necessarily deal with this quite often anymore. But when you're a startup, I remember getting like our first customers or like dentists were like, how do I know Archie will still be there in a year, in 2 years, in 5 years? And that was a legit question and a legit concern. I mean, I had it even, my own wife was like, she of course became our first customer and like she was the guinea pig but it was a stress, right? What if we don't make it? We have all of the patient data. There is HIPAA compliance, which require the practice to keep the data and so on. And so we were getting that question a lot. We're excited about Archie, we want to sign, but there is a risk, right? Like if you don't make it, we have to find another home and we have to make sure that our patient data is safe. Uh, and I think that's a challenge for many startups. We were able to navigate through it, but also I think what it helped, and an advice I would have for others who start that always says, not everybody is meant to be an early adopter of a product. And in the early days, you want to make sure that your early customer understand that. They have to be early adopter. They have to understand that there might be bugs, there might be features that are missing, but that's literally one of the challenge that we faced in the early days.
And I know that you've touched about kind of simplifying complex workflows and automating everything. So where do you still feel there's friction in the product or business that, still keeps you up at night right now?
That's the evolution of where we're heading. We're building different AI agents right now on top of Archie. We are only at the beginning of the journey of the automation. And right now, we have quite a few automation. I call them dumb automation. I'll give an example. From a reminder right now, a practice can say, send a text or an email or like to my patient 7 days, 2 days, an hour before an appointment. That's what I call dumb automation because it's based on a fixed logic. There is much more we want to do there. AI now give us way more possibility because we know more about you, the practice, we know more about your patient. And so we can start being more intelligent into how the practice will communicate with the patient. That's one area among many others. And so, but again, the hardest part right now is prioritization. But that's why I think the future is bright because we are building all of those agents that will become like part of the practice to simplify the work so that the staff can really focus on what matters, which is the patient.
And what would you say are your top couple priorities right now that you're focused on?
I mean, it's AI agents, literally. Those are like, it's priority number one, two, and three. From a product standpoint, is making sure it's not a race, but like we build those agents in a way that solve the key problem in the practice, the key problem for the staff and like the different staff we have. We have the people at the front desk, we have assistant, we have dentists, we have hygienists. So we have to make sure that we solve for each one of them. And so that's literally what we are laser focused. What keeps me up in some way is all the noise that is happening today. Because there is so many, like, I will call them fake AI, people saying they have AI and it's not AI, it's just algorithm. I mean, there is one functionality that we have, I remember, we demoed it with one of our partners and they were like, is that AI? I was like, it's just algorithm. Algorithm is logic and so on. But right now, time to time, I have customers or prospects will be like, I have seen this company, like, what do they do? Is Archie doing it or is Archie going to do it? And I'm like, this is not AI, this is fluff. And there is one company right now in dental, I won't name them, they will probably recognize themselves if they listen. They advertise AI. We discovered they have a bunch of people in the Philippines doing manual work, but they call themselves AI. Their domain name is blah.ai, and there is no AI behind it. But they actually, and to me, as a principle, that's you are lying to your customer. And it's actually doing more damage to the rest of the industry because some dentists will believe it's AI and they will have the same expectation. And I'm like, I'm not going to hire 20, 30 people in the Philippines pretending to be AI. We're actually working on the real AI aspect of this, but that also takes more time.
And personally, as a founder, where have you found the emotional journey most challenging since you started this journey?
That's a very good question. I will say, and I meet with a lot of founders. Being an entrepreneur is hard. It's a roller coaster. There are days where you are in the cloud, everything is going your way, and you're like, we're going to crush it. And there are days where you are like in the bottom. You have a customer who is complaining, a customer who is leaving, you have a competitor who is like doing something bad to you. And so it's a roller coaster. One advice I got from one of my closest friend, mentor, is that when you are at the top, tune it down. When you're at the bottom, bring it up. Avoid that roller coaster. The other advice I got was actually from my wife, because she sees me every day and she sees the ups and the downs. And she always tell me, if you are willing to throw in the towel when you are in the cloud at the top, you should quit. But if you are not willing to throw in the towel when everything is going well, then keep going. And the truth is, right now everything is going well. There is no way I will throw in the towel. But it's like being ready that there will be ups and downs. Resiliency, going through it, navigating through the downs because there are better days is one. The second part is finding the right community. Being a founder is very lonely. Even if I have my co-founder, if I have like an amazing team, there are things that I want to talk with someone. It's not even with my wife. And so being able to surround yourself with people who understand. Like my CTO can meet with other CTO and discuss their challenges. My COO can meet with other COO. Same with me as a CEO. It's like meeting with other CEO. And what I find is we all go through the same struggle. So surrounding yourself with the right folks, mentors, I have coaches, I have mentors, I can call them and they will give me advice. I have amazing investors with whom I can like send them a WhatsApp within hours. I'll get a response and like they will jump on the call. Is important. And so that's pretty much what to go through. After the final part, I will say is the hardest part as a founder. And that as I don't necessarily have the answer. I go to bed at night, my brain is thinking about Archie. I wake up in the morning, my brain is thinking about Archie. There are times I wake up in the middle of the night and I will take some notes because I'm thinking about something. And my team knows it. Like I will send message to everyone sometime hours. And I'm like, don't respond. It's just that I need to send you my thoughts. Uh, and that's one area where I know I need to do better, but so far I haven't found the answer and a way to do it.
And just to think about the year ahead now. So, if you were to look back and we were talking, say, 12 months from now, what would success look like for you? Whether it's the product, team, revenue, how would success be?
Success will be different ways. One is making sure that more dentists have heard of us. There are still plenty of dentists who don't know Archie. And so increasing our brand awareness. Change is hard. Making a decision to change your core software is not an easy decision. And I always say you have to be in the right mindset. There are dentists that might hear about Archie today, won't make a decision until a year from now. And so the key focus, and in 12 months, I want to make sure that more dentists have heard Archie and that when the day comes that they are ready to make a switch, they put us in the consideration. What success looks like? More practice, of course, on Archie. We keep on growing and adding, and I want to still see everything going up and to the right. Customer satisfaction. This is something we track and we want to keep going up and up and up. From a product standpoint, having all of our AI agents, and I think within 12 months, that's where we'll be, where everything will be there, where we'll be able to say, like, we have put your practice really on autopilot. Again, those are areas. And I will say one thing is, as we grow as a company, one thing that I'm proud of, and I take pride, but it's not just me. Many people tell me like, good job, John, congrats with Archie. And I'm like, Archie is actually a team. Archie with John will not be Archie. Archie with the team that we have assembled is what makes our strength. And I give the credit to my entire team, from product design engineering to marketing to sales to customer support. Like everyone makes what Archie is today. But as we grow, keeping the culture, the mindset, dedication gets harder and harder and harder. And so that's one where I want to see us grow with the team and keep that motto of like, we want to do good for the community and do good among ourselves. Like we support each other.
Those are great goals and great success too. And if anyone wants to learn more about Archie or connect with you, where is the best place?
So you can go on archy.com, archy.com. That's where you can learn more about Archie. If you want to connect with me, you can find me on LinkedIn, shoot me a message. I try to respond as soon as I can. Sometimes there might be a delay because I mean, I'm sure Sarah is the same with you. Like LinkedIn, sometimes you can be flooded. And I will say like, be patient. Sometimes if I don't respond right away, it might be because I am busy with other things. And it's funny because I will say, I used to be in that mindset years ago where I was like, I messaged that person and they have not responded yet. And now I realize from the other side is like, I understand why. And like having that patience, but like, yeah, you can reach out to me on LinkedIn. And I would say the more you can share why you want to chat or connect, or the more chances I will respond. If it's just like, oh, I see we have many connections in common, no, that's, you're probably not going to get a response from me. But if you say like, hey, I would love to chat about X, Y, and Z, I want to get some advice, or I can give you some advice because I can go both ways. I don't know everything. And so I always love people who are like, I can help you. So you tell me how and why you think you can help me, then we can have a chat.
Perfect. Well, thank you everyone for tuning into Mo's Market Pulse. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe, leave us a comment, and join us again to hear more insights from leaders coming up on future episodes. And thank you, Jon, so much for taking time today to talk with us.
Thank you, Sarah. It was my pleasure.